Music is something that we experience in everyday life. Be it a commercial jingle or a guitarist playing on a street corner, it is virtually impossible to escape the occasional tune. Throughout the spanning generations, attitudes and tastes towards music as a whole have changed drastically. But what are the differences between then and now? And more so, what factors affect a person's musical preferences? By exploring a person's influences and settings, we can more fully understand the aspects that shape an individual's musical identity.
I was about 3 or 4 years old, and we had a record player that had all the little ditty type songs, and they made a lot of little colorful records at that time. They were all like bright red, and I used to play all of those things. I mean, they were things that evolved a little bit later on into those same records were like Ballad of Davy Crockett, things like that. So yeah, from a fairly early age.
I can't remember when there wasn't music in my life. I remember the colored records also, and we had a little, 45 records. We had a record player, and there was music going on in my house all the time. And I just remember hearing music from the time I can remember.
Music was huge in my upbringing. My mom was a pianist on the side, but she was very good. She could transpose, she could sight read, she could improvise. So I wanted to play as well as my mom. My dad was a singer in temple choirs and a trumpet player in high school. And he wanted to be a jazz musician, but his parents wouldn't let him, so he played trumpet on the side and sang. And my grandparents would have everybody over every weekend, and it was all listening to big band music on 78s. So I have a really weird background of show tunes, trumpet music, and big band and vocal music.
It's probably a little different than some people.
Maybe.
Maybe a little.
Might be why I have this eclectic taste in music now.
My mom's a music teacher, and she exposed us to basically all the music that I listened to as a kid. Starting off with, little kid songs by Raffi, like bumping up and down in a Little Red Wagon. But then, she also exposed us to musicals. I remember we loved the Phantom of the Opera when we were kids. She's always exposing us to musical theater and even a little opera. There was just a little bit of everything.
Played a lot of vocal groups. I remember the Ink Spots and the Ames Brothers. I think even the Platters. And a lot of the singers that sort of went along are sort of a legacy of the big band era, the crooner type music like Bing Crosby and I can't think of any others offhand.
My father really enjoyed Bing Crosby, Pat Boone, Perry Como, people like that. And yeah, a little bit of old country. I don't know what you would call that. Some of the cowboy copas that
They listen to any swing music, big band music, anything like that?
a little bit. But I remember more the solo singers, like
The crooners.
Exactly.
Everybody sang, so you had to sing on car rides. You were singing harmonies. Like when I was 5, I was finding harmonies. We would have to improvise. So, yeah, music, and we went to concerts all the time. So,
Oh, really?
outdoor concerts, free concerts, Detroit Symphony. I remember going down to the state fairgrounds in Detroit for the Detroit Symphony something, maybe the concert band. It was Leonard Smith, I think his name was a conductor. Al Hurt, any jazz trumpeters we would see because of my
Every time we
dad.
took a vacation, we'd try to find a CD from wherever we went, and we'd bring it back with us. So I got to listen to a lot of Dominican music and a lot of Spanish-speaking music. So.
Do you think that's influenced the kind of music that you look for now?
Well, in college I got involved in salsa dancing, and so I could relate to it just a little bit. But yeah, I guess also my parents would they'd buy soundtracks everywhere we went. So we would go to Disneyland and we get the Disneyland soundtrack. And we went to the Rainforest Cafe and we got the Rainforest Cafe soundtrack. And if you go into our CD cabinet, you're gonna find all sorts of weird stuff. It's like the most random mix of music ever, and I love it.
No.
Not really until my music came along.
I never had my parents object to anything other than the volume at which I played my music.
I see.
My parents did not really like a lot of the music that I listened to. The rock music and those kind of things. They did not really care for that music, and I would turn up the volume again in my bedroom, and my dad would say, turn that off. And it was such a new kind of music for them that they had never been exposed to. And it was so new, it was very hard. I don't think they ever really accepted that kind of music.
I wasn't allowed to listen to pop music until 6th grade. I had to listen to what my parents picked until then. So it was all show tunes, so I knew every score to every show. Carousel, Sweet Charity, I knew every show. And I didn't know anything on the radio. And then in 6th grade, I don't know what the breakthrough was, but suddenly there was the Jackson 5 and me and Michael Jackson, because we're the same age. And, so he was like my musical companion. And then it was Chicago because of the harmonies and the trumpets and the backgrounds and thick things, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, anything that was classically linked, because then my two worlds could come together.
Right, you could appreciate.
Oh my god, what was that song where my mom made me come up with different words? I think it was that song Torn. Yeah!
Naked on the Floor.
Naked on the Floor was like frying taters on the floor. Or something like that. But that's, you know, it was just like explicit stuff, which nowadays you can't even censor that stuff.
Yeah, I think it was a lot more universal, but again, it was kind of narrow. It was the big band thing. Was,
Everybody liked the same.
Yeah, everybody was into the same kind of a thing.
And it was live music, and you know, you didn't have the technology for
Yeah.
recorded music, and I think for them, they had to almost go see it live. And then they would dance to it, the live music. Whereas us, I could go up into my bedroom and just turn on my record player, and I could just be myself in the music. I didn't have to dance to it or see it live.
You can talk to people of our parents' generation. Most of them are gone now, unfortunately, but you could have talked to them and had a number of them tell you, oh, I remember dancing to Benny Goodman. I remember dancing to Glenn Miller. They didn't talk about listening to the music. They talked about the social dance aspect of it. So the music had a little different function.
And my mother was more involved in the dancing part of it, and I think my father would take it home and he would listen to it at home, whereas my mother would have to be involved in the whole
So what you
the whole
got,
scene.
what you grew up with and what you got was more in tune with our upbringing in music than ours was with our parents.
Right,
Right.
right.
Just like you've said, the three of us can listen to the same music just fine and comfortably, whereas there's a
We
huge
couldn't
gap
do that.
between
We couldn't do that with our parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Autotune's gotta die. You know, if people understand that that's more technology than skill, that would make me happy that they know that. I always admire people excellent at what they do. I remember Eric Carmen took a song called All By Myself, but it was actually Rachmaninoff. So I like finding embedded songs or borrowed songs so that they can get, this is how I hear it now in my, you know, they think they've discovered all the music of the world, kids. And then you show, hey, you know who really wrote that? Like, you're kidding. Alicia Keys did that. She did a song and it sounded like it was hers, but it was actually Beethoven's Midnight Sonata. She didn't even credit him. So I'll tell kids, hey, look what this is, Alicia Keys song, great song. And I'm like, okay, now let me play you this Beethoven. They're like, it's the same thing. I know.
Jonas Brothers, Justin Bieber. I mean, I don't just dislike the music that some of the pop artists are doing, but I don't like the messages they're sending either. Like, at least the Beatles was about, you know, the message of spreading love and being free and being an individual, and now it's all about, like, getting the most money and the most women, and just, it's really bad, and the music videos reflect that too, and, you know, that's the only thing I don't like in the music industry is the capitalization of music, I guess. That's not too good. I mean, between the talent shows and the open mic nights and all the different things, I mean, bars embrace it, residence halls embrace it, just chilling with your friends embrace it. I mean, if you're musical at all, everyone's excited about it.